I'm going to demonstrate how to sew in an invisible zip, and here I have a finished sample which is a skirt back, and the zip is stitched into the centre back seam with a 1 centimetre seam allowance, and after it's inserted the only part of the zip that is visible is the metal pull tab at the top. So grab your skirts. Neaten off the seam allowances of the centre back on the overlocker first, and then come back and we'll stitch the seam, and we're going to start at this notch that's part way down centre back, and we're going to match up our edges and sew 1 centimetre down from the notch. Tap tack, and keeping your edges of your skirts together so that it's nice and even. So this is a 20 centimetre invisible zip. What we need to do is we have to waste 2 centimetres at the bottom to be able to pull the tab away from where we have to sew. So my opening here should be 1 centimetre at the top for the waist seam plus 18 centimetres, so about 19 centimetres from the top. The next thing you need to do is change over to a zipper foot, and we're just going to tack the zip in place first before we actually sew it in using the invisible zipper foot. So I'm just putting on the right hand foot, zipper foot, and I'm sewing the zip face down onto the right side of the seam allowance. Now just remember that you've got 1 centimetre at the top for your seam, for your waist seam, so you need to place that so that the zip finishes 1 centimetre down from the top edge. I'm just going to pop a pin in there. You should be able to line the edge of the zipper tape up with the edge of the skirt so that it's covering all of the overlocking. And this is just tacking it in place. And just tacking it in place down to where the seam starts. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just be a bit careful that you are lining it up so that it's sitting nice and flat and that you're not getting a tuck at the bottom. So make sure that it's sitting nice and flat. I like to just pop a pin in there so it doesn't move. And we'll tack that in place too. Because we're tacking it, you don't need to do a back tack. I'm just making sure that when we get up to the top that the waistlines, the fabric is even on both sides. Okay, so now that's tacked in place, we can change over to our invisible zipper foot. And I just want to bring the needle thread down under the foot. To do that, I'm just going to turn the hand wheel and bring that underneath the foot out of the way. So in order to sew this in, I'm going to have to pull the zipper tab away and bring it down beneath the opening. So just poke it through the gap underneath and grab hold of it and pull it down out of the way. So now I can easily get access to the zip and sew it all the way down. It's good idea to always start at the top. And when you're placing it into the groove on the invisible zipper foot, just have a think about which side the needle's on. Make sure that you're sewing it on the right side. This time I'll do a back tack. And I'm just going to help the zip to sit flat. I'm just going to give it a bit of a push as I go. And just use my hands to flatten the tape out. Now I can see where my seam starts, so I'm just sewing down as far as the seam without getting caught into the seam. Now I'll sew the other side. You can sew it from the bottom up, but I find it's easier to sew from the top. Just make sure that the teeth stay in that groove properly. Sewing down as far as you can. Once you've got both sides sewn in, grab that zipper end, the pull tab, and start to pull it up. Once you've got it up above that where the seam is, you can then turn it to the outside and pull it up. So the last thing I'm going to do to finish up is I'm going to stitch to the end of the zip from where I had tacked it in place down to the end of the zip, and you can see I've done it on this side here. So I've just back tacked over my tacking stitch and then anchored it down, stitched down to the end to help anchor the zip, so that when you're pulling the zip open and closed, a lot of pressure is put on that end part here and it can start to unravel the stitching unless you anchor it in place by sewing to the bottom of the zip. And you can do that on both sides. So just go to the end of your tacking, back tack over it, and when you're lining up the zip, just make sure that the teeth are sitting on that centre back seam and that it's sitting nice and flat. And that's our zip finished.